my favorite food, which I'm famous for in the dental world, is curry. It is the reason I actually moved to Leicester and Leicestershire. So, and you won't get much better curry than you will around here. So, and now I make my own curries as well. And we use the Asian food markets quite a bit, of which we're blessed with a couple in Nottingham. I am married to Sheila, and we've been married 21 years this year. And I was lucky enough to have two second-hand children because I am stepfather to Ellen, 33, and Graham, who's 31. And Graham has been all around the world and is now back and living with us for a temporary period, he assures us. And Ellen lives nearby in her own home. I like to do a lot of walking. And we do trekking on the mountains. We have a place in the Alps, so we do a lot of walking there too. And obviously the winter sports that go with that. And probably my main hobby day to day, week by week, is cooking. I will spend quite a bit of time on a Sunday and prepping food for the day and also for the rest of the week. And I think that's probably where my creativity comes out now. My favorite allotment vegetable is the butternut squash. Now, the butternut squash takes a little time to get to fruition, to grow. And my experience with butternut squashes I bought in supermarkets is they're fairly tasteless. But I can tell you, when you have butternut squash picked and cooked and eaten on the same day, it's an unbelievable surprise. So I suppose that other people's views on straightening teeth may have been quite ordinary or not really up to particularly exciting or wonderful, but when you get that smile that you really want, and it's taken a bit of time to get there, and you finally get it, it's a wonderful experience. I was probably treating 200 or 300 people a year with children, mainly in the early years. And then as I got into Invisalign, I was treating more adults. And at the same time, roughly the same time, I became part-time. And now I'm treating about 60, 70, 80 adults a year. And I've treated over 800 Invisalign patients since I started with it. I qualified in December 1980, so that's 40 years this year. And I was very lucky actually because we had a lot of orthodontic training as part of our undergraduate course. So orthodontics has been part of my general practice career right from day one, which was January the 2nd, 1981. So I've always been involved in orthodontics, and I've done every form of orthodontics pretty much. Until I came to Invisalign in 2007. A significant part of my professional life now is actually training and mentoring other Invisalign dentists. I actually spend more time doing that than I do treating patients now. I started teaching Invisalign back in 2010 when the company asked me to come on board and be a lecturer for them. And that part of my career has grown and grown. So I probably trained about 60 dentists in 2010, and now we're at the level of probably training 200, 300, 400 dentists a year. I do that in a number of ways, partly because Invisalign is digitally based. We can now do most of the training and mentoring online. And I am a co-director of the only postgraduate diploma in Invisalign dentistry, and we have students literally from all over the world, so including Australia. And this has been a fantastic part of my career, I have to say. And probably because of Invisalign, I haven't managed to retire yet, and I don't exactly know when I will either. What's my philosophy around straightening people's teeth? Actually, the first thing I think about when I'm straightening people's teeth is not only how good the smile is going to be, but mainly, will they be able to chew comfortably afterwards? So it's really about their bite and their jaw joints, because it's easy to get straight teeth, but it's more difficult to make sure that it's going to fit properly afterwards. So it's no good having this great smile if you can't chew properly or if your jaw's in pain for the rest of your life. So I actually think about good health and function first. And then when I'm helping people get straighter teeth, I'm thinking about the whole face, not just the way that the teeth look on their own, as if they were on a set of models. So that can make quite a difference to how you change or modify the position of people's teeth. So for instance, you don't make them look like a horse and make them look too big. Similarly, you don't want to bring them back so far in the mouth that when they smile, they look like they're gurning, because you can't see their teeth either. Some people with broader faces they will want a broader smile. That would look great. Smaller people with narrow faces, you don't want to give them a great big horrendous wide smile. You want a smile that fits the shape of the face, and ultimately that they can chew properly at the end of it. There's a number of things I love about Invisalign. From a patient's point of view, obviously it's the most comfortable, easiest way to have straighter teeth. And so that's a very easy thing to discuss with patients. It was always a struggle when I used to talk to them about the benefits of straight teeth, and then I'd show them the fixed metal braces, and patients just couldn't make that leap into going into that better form of treatment. When I talked to them about the benefits of straighter teeth, and then we used these bits of plastic called Invisalign, I had a lot more patients would accept that course of treatment. And that meant they avoided other problems down the line. So they had straighter teeth, which means they could keep them cleaner. They obviously improved their smile, but often it means they need less dentistry in the long term as well. Straighter teeth are generally healthier teeth. So from that perspective, I really love Invisalign because it's so patient friendly. From a professional perspective, I love Invisalign because it's easy for me to plan the treatment ahead of time. So I can get rid of problems before they even occur, and I can see problems that might occur, and we can take steps to reduce those, or at least make the patient aware of what we can do about it should they happen. So that sort of planning allows the patient to see what the ultimate outcome is likely to be before they finally commit themselves. So for me, the whole consent process is much stronger with Invisalign too. Well, there are many stories of patients who've been transformed. One of the most powerful ones in my experience with Invisalign was a patient called Sue. And Sue was 67 when she first came to see us. Her good friend was the wife of one of the dentists in the practice that I work at. And so she got to know about Invisalign through talking to my colleague, the dentist. Now, Sue had been looking after her husband, who had unfortunately died at 2 years previously. So she'd been very involved with her husband's care. And obviously there's a period after her husband died, she was in mourning. But by 67, 2 years later, she was ready to start a new chapter in her life and go back out into the world. And she was always really, really conscious about this smile that she had. She had very, very crooked teeth. Her husband loved her and said there was nothing wrong with her teeth. He loved her anyway, but she would never smile for any photographs. And although she was this lovely, caring, bubbly type personality, she couldn't really feel that she could give it herself because she couldn't smile. Sue went through the whole thorough assessment and planning process with me, and we showed her what we thought was possible. We gave her a very reasonable idea. I mean, we weren't trying to tell her things were possible when they weren't, but we gave her a very reasonable idea, and she could see these steps ahead of time on her personal 3D plan. And she took the plunge, and we did go ahead with the Invisalign, and the results are absolutely overwhelming. I mean, so overwhelming. She was desperate to do a video for us to tell the world what this process was like and what a difference it made to her, and it made a significant difference to her. So if you get to see the video, you'll see what a beautiful, broad, lovely smile she has now, and how it's transformed the social part of her life, if you like, which at the age of 67, 68, going out into the world again is very, very important. The 4-step Smile Straight dentistry for Nottinghamshire people starts off with you taking 6 photographs with your phone, and the artificial intelligence that we use then looks at those photographs and compares them with over 1 billion photographs they've seen of other people's teeth and gums. And by being able to compare those, the system is able to identify areas of health and areas of potential disease. They can obviously compare your smile with straight smile, so they get a sense of how much crowding there is. And all of that produces an individual report. Step 2, then using that information, then we can start having meaningful conversation online very often, using something like a Zoom call, where I can sit down with you, you can be at home, I can be in the practice or wherever I want to be, and I can sit and listen to your concerns. And it gives me a really good chance, especially seeing you face to face, you know, what sort of things that bother you, whether it's simply your smile, whether you're having problems with the way in which you chew, can you clean your teeth properly? All of those sorts of concerns, I can get to know you and understand those. Then it helps me come up with some options for you, because it's my job to help you make the right choice. So I can start to build up some options and give you a sense of how long they might take, how much they will cost. So you have all of that basic information that you need to know before you make the decision to go to step 3. Step 3 involves a thorough and rigorous assessment of your whole mouth, not just the teeth or the gums, but we look at the jaw as well, because I want to make sure that we give you a healthy, comfortable bite at the end of any treatment that we do. Step 3 does cost, so you want to be sure that Invisalign will be a good idea for you before you go to that step. Then once we've done that really thorough and comprehensive assessment, I'll be able to come up with a 3D treatment plan and give you a really good idea how long it's going to take and a definite price to include everything I know you're going to need. And at that point, you should have all the information you need to make a really good decision. And I'll help you make that decision. I won't let you do anything stupid, and I'll help you understand the pros and cons of every option that we come up with. Once you've made that decision, then we can go ahead and start your treatment with your Invisalign treatment. Step 4 is virtual care on an ongoing basis. So instead of you having to come into the practice to see me, park the car, you risk all the COVID stuff and all that sort of stuff, we're actually watching you and looking at you every week, because you're taking scans of your teeth, and Donna and I can check those scans and give you feedback on how you're progressing. And if there's anything that's going wrong, we can see that very quickly and ask you to come in and see us. So it's simply scanning with your phone on a weekly basis allows us then to take great care of you. And in fact, much better care I found than I used to do in the old days, which was see you every 6 or 8 weeks. Because I can identify a problem very quickly and we can easily converse about it as well. This has been a real benefit during lockdown, I have to say, because instead of patients feeling anxious, not knowing what's going on, I was in great contact with them, and we were dealing with additional aligners or stopping treatment or whatever it was, and they didn't have to leave the comfort of their own home. The Itero Scanner is a modern piece of equipment that allows us to avoid doing those gloopy impressions of your teeth. We get an extremely accurate 3D model of your teeth, and using that data then it allows us to manipulate the position of the teeth and show you an outcome simulation as well of what your teeth are likely to look like before you finally commit yourself to doing any treatment. So the great thing about the Itero is it's comfortable from your point of view. You don't have to have all that impression material in your mouth. is extremely accurate, so we don't have to redo impressions either. And then that data is held on file, and we can go and access that at any time. So it allows us to look back at your case, and more importantly for me, it allows me to plan the case much more effectively and give you a more predictable treatment outcome. Is it painful? Well, I've had Invisalign and I've had fixed braces, and I genuinely know the difference. And I can tell you that fixed braces can be very painful. They can rub the lips and cheeks, and they certainly hurt your teeth when they tighten up those wires. And my experience with Invisalign is the worst that you get is some discomfort. The aligners are easy to wear. Many people actually prefer to wear the aligners, and it's difficult to get them out of them. And whilst the teeth have some sort of discomfort with them when you're moving them, because they're protected by these aligners, it's not something that bothers you on a daily basis. The process of us giving you Invisalign is actually pain-free. I never have to give an injection. The worst that you'll feel is it will feel like a really good scale and polish, you know, when you get some vibration and a lot of water. That's about the worst it'll feel. And with any patient, Don and I will stop at any time. The patient just puts their hand up, we stop straight away. But really, it's been a joy for me not having to give an injection for the last 5 years. So, and certainly nice for the patients too. How long is it going to take? And that is quite specific for the patients, but we are able to give you a really, really good idea before you finally commit yourself to treatment. And it can be literally as short as 3 months, and it can be as long as 18 months. Most of my patients, we find that treatments will last about 12 months. So Invisalign used to take a long time, but I was involved with some research which allowed us to actually half the time that we used to give for Invisalign. So it's as quick now as fixed appliances. It's wrong to rush treatment, though. You should get it done at the appropriate rate, because if you put too much force on the teeth, that might be damaging to the teeth or the gums. So we're very careful, whatever we do it at the right rate, so it gives you the best chance of having a healthy, lovely smile in the future. What's the difference between doing a home-based aligner treatment using these aligners by post compared to coming to see us at High Street Dental Care for your Invisalign? The most significant thing is that you will have a professional consultation. We do a thorough and comprehensive assessment of your mouth, and not only to give you straight-looking teeth, a smile that fits in with the shape of your face, and crucially will not cause you any damage to your teeth, your gums, or your jaw. And you need our professional expertise to make sure all of those things all fit together. If you go direct to the supplier for your aligners, you won't get any sort of advice along those lines. They simply can't tell that if they don't see you in person. Secondly, although the aligners will look the same, they genuinely are not the same. Invisalign has had hundreds of millions of dollars of investment into the system and the material, and those two things are unique to Invisalign. These other systems are just not as powerful. If you invest in your smile, you're looking for something that's going to last you the rest of your life, and you should only have it done once, and you need to have it done really, really well, because you also want to maintain the health of your mouth, and you want to be able to make sure you can chew properly at the end of it. So for me, there's only one way to do it, and that's come and see the professionals. About half my new patients are referrals from existing patients, so that they're referring their families and friends to me because they have experienced what it's really like to have Invisalign, and also what it's like to come and work with us at High Street Dental Care. So they know that I'm going to take a great deal of time to get to know them. I'm going to understand their issues, what's important to them, how Invisalign might fit into their life, so we can manage and plan the treatment in that way. And then the ongoing care that we have with them, particularly using a lot of the virtual appointments that we do now, means the whole journey is much easier for them. So I have quite a few patients, for instance, who live away and they'll come back to their family for their visits, but the rest of the time they're in London or other parts of Europe, and we keep a check on them every week, and they just pop back when they need to. So I think since half my new patients come from existing patients, I think that's just a measure of how great they found that Invisalign service. Donna is my Invisalign treatment coordinator, and she's the sort of glue that keeps everything moving along in the whole process. She's at the practice several days a week, so she's able to make sure that everything in the background is running smoothly. Crucially, she's what I call her the patient's advocate. She's often the first person to meet the patient. She'll get to know the patient and what's important to them. She'll understand their background. For instance, if they've been referred by one of the dentists, she'll be able to go and speak to the dentist and find out all about the patient from that point of view. She has as much time as you need in order to help you over all the little steps that you need to go, like how do you look after the aligners, which aligners, when you're going to change them, what sort of appointment you need, what time you want it to be. She'll have all of these things in her head, and she really makes the whole patient journey as smooth and easy as possible. And I could not do Invisalign without Donna, no question about it. I'm Dr. Andy Toy, and I've treated over 800 Invisalign patients in the Midlands area. And I'm really excited because we're using groundbreaking artificial intelligence software that will show you whether your teeth are crooked, where there's a risk of gum disease, and even a risk of tooth decay. All you've got to do is take 6 photos, and the software will use its magic to give us a report within 10 minutes. This is a free service. You don't have to come and see me. All you've got to do is take the photographs, and we'll send you that report. Click the link below